This game shows that if you have a great formula, you should expand upon it and make it better, instead of trying to rewrite it into something it's not. Please don't suck.
Hey friends, I'm Pragmatik and I like to talk about video games. And the game I want to talk about today is Valkyria Chronicles 4. Now if you've been a long-time viewer of mine, you know how I felt about Valkyria Revolution. Yeah, which is why I wanted to talk about the next installment. I wanted to see what's changed and what stayed the same. So let's get into it. I'll start this off by saying that I was not entirely fond of Valkyria Revolution. Its sudden switch to real-time combat wasn't done poorly, rather it was just a far turn from the format Valkyria Chronicles had established, and I believe a big fear a lot of fans had was this was the new direction the development team wanted to take. Like I said, not a terrible game by any means, just not exactly what a lot of fans really wanted. The art was still gorgeous, but I could not get behind any of their characters or the way the cutscenes played out because they were just so long. I think the general consensus for the game was,
"No, I don't want that."
And the lead protagonist was far too edgy. Shadow the Hedgehog looking fool.
Where is Miss Maria?
It was a short while later that Sega would announce the development of Valkyria Chronicles 4, and how they would be retracing Valkyria's roots. And after playing about 10 hours of this game, I feel they did just that. Quite literally. Taking place at the same time as Valkyria Chronicles 1, you now find yourself in control of Squad E, but rather than being part of the small Gallian militia, you're a part of the Atlantic Federation, facing the Eastern Imperial Alliance during an advancement known as Operation Northern Cross. You lead the team as Commander Claude Wallace, a peace-loving officer who has a hidden past and a deep bond with his squad mates. He shares a lot of qualities with Welkin Gunter from Valkyria Chronicles 1, but man do I hate the name Claude.
Claude.
If you've played the first Valkyria Chronicles game, then you pretty much know the ins and outs of this installment, as nearly everything is as it was from the first game, and I mean like to a T. The animations to the battlefield, it's all pretty much carbon copied from the original game. Unless of course we're talking about the addition of Ragnarok, the super good boy that helps out on the battlefield. Much better than the pig thing from the first game. You've got every class you had from the first game, this being the Scout, Shock Trooper, Engineer, Sniper, and Lancer, but this time around you have a new class known as a Grenadier. These units are kind of slow like Lancers, but instead of facing tanks, their goal is to fire explosives at faraway targets that would normally be hard to reach. They can also provide a lot of fire during the enemy's turn. Even the way they work the camera during their attack is super helpful to get a better vantage point of where you're aiming and what you're up against. It goes without saying that veterans should feel welcome with this new installment. Even newcomers should feel comfortable as this game goes hand in hand with the first game, and there's enough tutorials to know what to do. I can't stress enough how minor the changes to the game have been, like how selecting your tank only takes one action slot instead of two, and how capturing an enemy base or defeating an officer gives a character a morale boost, allowing them to tap into their potentials more easily.
Don't be stupid.
That's right, characters' likes and dislikes, potentials, and ailments are all still included in this installment, and I can't stress enough how good of a thing that is. I won't get too much into it, but if you're curious about it, I'll post a link to my Valkyria Chronicles 1 review that goes a bit more in depth on those subjects. I've enjoyed what I've seen of the story so far. A lot of the character designs are well done and there's a lot of difference in the voices, but sadly I don't think Stephen Blum contributed any voices this time around. Shame. The squad itself seems more like a group of childhood friends rather than something that had to be developed and worked into like Valkyria Chronicles 1, so you get this bigger sense of a bond as well as a little more tension. But if you're expecting big changes to the game's overall format, well, prepare to be disappointed, because I mean it literally when I say this game is a carbon copy. The movement, animations, and even the lag time all remain in this installment, which is impressive as well as a little surprising. In my review of 1, I talked about how well this format was established, and I thought it was a better idea to expand upon it rather than change it up entirely. And I still believe that, but expanding a little more wouldn't hurt because it really does feel like I'm just playing Valkyria Chronicles 1 again. But I don't see that as a bad thing. You kept the format that I loved and I can respect that. If anything, this shows that Sega listened to what the fans wanted and gave them what they loved, even if maybe it was something they already had. The only problems I notice is that there's some drawn out times before in-battle cutscenes, which takes away from the pacing. And the tutorials, my god. I really wish there was an option to turn them off, as the first few missions are interrupted with a flurry of how-tos that, if you're a veteran of the series, you already know about. I know they're helpful, but I already know this, man! They do tack on some fun little tidbits like this one mission where instead of fighting, you're scouting for enemy tanks and discerning whether they are real or just decoys, and I like little additions like that. And the DLC where you fight along Squad 7 from the first game is a nice touch. Having both of these games feel so similar really doesn't take anything away from the experience. I think all in all, we got what we wanted, the old Valkyria Chronicles. Not breaking from the format that we loved, but also not making any big strides to improve the format, and I feel that's pretty okay, as I didn't really feel there was much wrong with it in the first place. So Valkyria Chronicles 4 is pretty much what I wanted. Thanks for watching. Hey guys, thanks for checking out the video. Are you gonna pick this one up, or are you eagerly awaiting Valkyria Revolution 2? Ugh. Gently press that like button and leave a comment telling me what you think, and subscribe if you'd like to see more from me. As always, have a great day and keep it practical.